look at you the whole time?
Your call.
Okay.
Wherever you want.
We're conversation.
Yeah.
So
wherever you want
me to look at the camera, I'll look at the camera. But if not, cool.
Wherever you want to look.
All right.
So Matt, if you want to do one of those,
I really like this cyberpunk kind of thing going on back here. Blade Runner vibes.
Yeah, the Tokyo, like cyber Tokyo.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of that art style.
Me too.
Like
if I was reincarnated, I hope I'm reincarnated when that's like a real thing.
I don't know. We're on our way there, and I'm not sure.
Scary times.
Oh yeah,
the Hawaii thing is crazy.
AI is.
The AI. Oh, God, getting real creepy.
Oh, that's getting crazy.
Yeah, real creepy in them streets.
Right? Have you seen any of like the AI art and all that?
Oh, I have.
Like it recreating performers and.
Yeah. I'm like, that's cool if you want to jerk your dick off to like some imaginary things. It's nice to know like real pussy owners.
I agree.
Performers. But it's very still very creative, very like, wow, we did it again.
Well, it's one of those things for the end user though. It's like we got to figure out performers definitely offer, like these days especially, a lot more than just being an image that they masturbate.
Yes.
But like in the days where someone was just consuming content that they bought on DVD or VHS, what's really the difference between AI generated content at that point versus a live person? Where a live performer definitely is much more important, is like actually interacting with the fans and all that fucking shit. But dudes are just like, oh, hey, that's what I want to fap to. And
it's like, the guys who want McDonald's to the guys who would like to go to a steakhouse. Two different type of consumers. You can't kink shame them or any type of, shame towards them, but you're just like, it's always going to be like Pepsi and Cola. Like, it's just whatever you are willing to.
I'm hoping it doesn't end up like McDonald's, because McDonald's does a lot more business than most steakhouses.
I know, man. But they're going to go AI and take out the drive-through people and
that's the thing. Like, automation's always replaced.
That's not terrible.
Well, it's not terrible depending on how we deal with it.
Yeah.
Because the problem is automation's always replaced jobs. Like the Industrial Revolution stopped people from making shoes by hand and all that shit. That put a lot of other people out of work. If we as a society can adapt to find other things for people to fucking do, we'll be okay. But if we're just like, oh, fuck off and starve, sorry.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah. And then it's like the strike that's going on right now. It's very interesting. And it also makes me feel very like, yes, I went to the right one, the right industry. But even though like, yeah, we can be imitated in AI, I still feel very confident that as long as you have a brand and as long as you have that real emotional connection with your fan base, like there's no computer generated version of you that can replace that.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. There will always be something to be said for actually interacting with a performer.
Sure.
The AI is not there yet.
Yeah, and I think like even too, like it doesn't even fully like get to the visual of that, they want to see pussy and all that. I think it's still kind of like is like a little blurry, but it's like almost there. So I don't know.
I haven't consumed any of it. So
I watched a few of it and I was just like, Do
all of them have weird hands in it?
Well, yeah, it's like, and it goes so fast and it can form into like other versions of people and different, like you could like, have you seen the one where they did like Obama and he was like turning into all kinds of different people? It's just crazy. It's crazy. And I'm like, if I was on acid watching this shit, like that's how I would consume it. But,
not to get your nuts.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's definitely something I'll look at when I'm smoking a joint and just like, that's cool.
Well, I honestly feel it's a great tool to supplement art and supplement your work.
Yeah.
Like
if it's my screensaver when for when I do get busy, like, and I can't really attend to the OnlyFans guys. I'm sorry, I got a life. But
Oh my god, you're allowed to have a life?
right, so it's like if you kinda, like, did autopilot, like, on that movie Click, like, with Adam Sandler, like, that's kinda cool because then I'll be like, "Oh, just, turn that on," then my little AI can be hustling for me so I can go smoke a joint and
Relax for a minute.
Yeah, exactly. Whew. Put my feet up.
Well, and also it's cool for, like, if you wanna make some weird content, you're like, "Oh,
Right.
I wanna do some stuff with some green screens and get weird with it," and like, "Oh, I'm gonna use the AI to fill in the background," and
Like, what's weird? The new thing is that, God, what do they call that? The TikTok thing where the girls are pretending
oh,
to
the NPCs?
the NPC, like, where did that come from? But the girl who got really popular doing it, I love her. I think she, like, does it well, but
Yes, yes, yes.
I don't get it. Like, or I don't know if I can do that. And it goes so fast and I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely its own skill set.
Yeah.
I definitely checked it out just out of morbid curiosity because the first
Like, are
time
guys really, like,
I mean,
attracted to that?
no, I
Or
mean, was, I forgot her screen name, but
yeah, me too.
everyone knows she was a big meme, like, weeks ago. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
She's a conventionally attractive woman.
No, I like her and she does the robot thing really well. I just really want to know this from, like, a creator standpoint, because if that is the lucrative thing, cool. I need to add that to my arsenal.
I mean, apparently it is. And it's one of those things where she's not getting shadow banned.
But the guy, I mean, we have to, like, this world is so crazy, but we have to, like, congratulate this industry because it's always, like, ever changing and getting creative with, trying to be not shadow banned, trying to not go behind the algorithm. And I've been deleted 6 times, so it's like, it's like this little form of anxiety when you post something and you're just kind of like, "Oh, did it take it? Alright."
Am I still here? Fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. Anytime I show a butt cheek, it's like, that's serious.
And it shouldn't be because that's allowed on network television.
Right. Right. It's a butt cheek. Like, they're showing dicks on mainstream TV, like Netflix and stuff. It's like, what?
Eh, but
It's covered.
well, and the thing about it is like broadcast television had butt cheeks. Dennis Franz fucking was naked on NYPD Blue back in the 90s. Like fat old white man ass was A-okay.
What is it? What is that guy? Mark Wahlberg on the Boogie Nights.
Well, I
He
mean, but
pulled the thing out.
that's a movie, so
I know. That was the first time I saw it. I was like, whoa.
don't tell me that was the first dick you ever saw.
No, just in,
I
like, a mainstream movie,
no, I
yeah.
was just fucking with you. I'm just
No.
that'd be
I don't
horrifying.
think that was his real
No,
schlong, yeah.
definitely not. But that'd be horrifying if like you saw Boogie Nights and like that was the first dick you
Yeah, I
ever saw.
know,
You're
yeah, that'd be terrible.
like, oh, that's not going in me.
What was his name again?
Dirk Diggler was,
Dirk Diggler.
or Eddie from Torrance.
Right.
Why do I remember that off the top of my fucking head? Jesus.
Great. I really wanted to be the roller skating girl.
I saw that movie in theaters. I'm that.
Did you? I saw, like, my parents watched it on pay-per-view and they recorded it, and then, like, I watched it when they weren't looking, and then I was, like, traumatized because I was like, I thought I was gonna see boobs.
I mean,
I saw a lot of that, but I was like, that's a curveball. I didn't know they did that.
giant flaccid penis. Well, and it's gotten even more explicit now. Like you
It's,
look,
oh
you
my
look at
God,
HBO,
wait.
like Euphoria, the first season,
Right.
they didn't. I mean, I guess they blurred it a little bit, but it wasn't like a censorship. It was just like a tasteful, like artsy blur of an erect penis.
And I was like, am I supposed to be turned on by this? Because aren't these, like, high school kids?
Yes,
But
they're not.
obviously they weren't high school kid actors.
Yeah, like
But
Sydney Sweeney, who
right.
is like 25.
What was the brunette girl? The cheerleader. I liked the cheerleader.
Oh, yeah,
The girlfriend. I
the
forgot what her name is.
the crazy one, like
Yeah, she's hot.
yeah.
Yeah.
And she's older than the rest of the cast.
And I watched The Idol, the new the Sam Livingston's other project. Super not about the storyline, but obviously the way he filmed it and ooh, Lily Rose Depp. That's my new crush.
That is the exact same reason I watched Idol, because I like Sam Levinson's visual style.
Right.
And I made 4 episodes and was just kind of like meh.
Lily Rose Depp was it for me. The Weekend, not so much. The hairdo, you know?
Well, and it wasn't just the hairdo, it was just also like, for me, it felt like some inconsistencies in his character. Because like
Right.
the first, I think I've talked about this on air already, but like the first episode where he's just like talking, trying to psych himself up in the mirror in her house, and then later, 2 episodes later, he's a cult leader. Like,
Yeah, it's just it had so many, like, extremes. I was like, "I don't even know where this is going." Like, but I was like, "But fuck all that, because she's hot, and I just loved her style and just everything." I think she did a really good job, even though they did kinda sexualize her a lot.
they did, but they also very much sexualized fucking pop
Very
idols.
right.
And hell, think of they're trying to emulate the style of like Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera from the 90s. And boy, they were hot as shit back in the day.
Hot as shit. Christina Aguilera when she did Xtina, ooh.
The Dirty video where she's
Yeah.
she's in the stirrups and
And then the other one, she's in the purple outfit, and yeah, she went through her little slutty phase. I was like, that was hot, but Britney Spears and I'm a Slave for You, like, even whenever that song comes on, it's like, ugh.
oh yeah,
But, I love her dancing in her house. The videos are awesome. I very vicariously live through her.
well, apparently she's getting a divorce.
I just read that, and I never liked him I didn't like him. I felt very like straight for pay vibes. Right?
Well, I wholeheartedly agree with you. So randomly, I ended up on TMZ today to comment on the story because apparently
Right.
TMZ likes me fucking giving bad takes on air occasionally, because this is like the
Okay.
second time they've asked me to come on.
Okay, awesome.
And I specifically was commenting on that story today.
All right.
Brittany has the worst taste in men. And they're like, no, he's such a good dude. He was defending her.
She always goes for the backup dancers.
Well, and I went, yeah, he has financial incentive to make this look good in public.
Right. So I gave him side eye vibes minute I heard that I believe TMZ ran the story, but he went on his YouTube channel and was begging his fans to write to go on the directors for God, what's that? The Channing Tatum, the Magic Mike sequel. So he wanted the parts, but this is what he said. He said, I need you to write the director and say that you want me to be the lead, but I don't have to do dancing parts, right? And I was like, what? Excuse me, you are with Britney Spears and you're trying to do Magic Mike, who, hello, he has to dance, okay? For women, and you think that you want to get that part up? No, goodbye. Like, you could be getting lessons from her. And then when they were getting married and they were putting all their terms together, and he said that he wanted to get $1 million for every year that he was married to her. So I'm like, bro, you're not doing this for love. He just never, I don't know. I didn't like him at all.
And the mentality of like, oh, I want to be the lead in Magic Mike, but oh, I don't want to have dances. Like being like, I would like to star in the next Wicked feature, but I don't want to have sex on film.
Right? Like it makes no sense. I want to work for Brazzers, but can we pause on the sucking and fucking?
Right? Can someone else do that for me? Like we put
Did I put a fill in?
Stunt cock. Come on.
A lookalike.
Right? Like all the sex will just be POV, and we'll just swap someone else in and.
Yeah, but I live for her. She just got a poll, so I was like, "Ooh, Brittany, get back in your give me more phase." Like I live for her. Doing the crazy videos, but sometimes I'm like, "Girl, can I just put a little concealer on you?" But that's why we love her, because she's just in her natural state, and I think it's awesome she's out of her conservatorship, even though it's kind of sketch and weird.
I mean, the whole thing's sketch.
The whole thing is weird. I think I still watch videos on her. I think she's still sort of, in a sense, in there. The family's still kind of. It's really a shame, but that's my girl.
I mean, it's kind of fucked to be a 40-year-old woman and like gone through your whole life with other people telling you what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
Like she started on the fucking Mickey Mouse Club. So like from a very young age, everyone's been telling her what the fuck to do
Hit me,
forever.
baby, one more time. Like that. Yeah, she deserves a break. So, yes, she deserves to get a pole and wear her little hip hugger bottoms and shake it. Like that's why you gotta love her. She's authentic.
Yeah, she's just trying to live her best life.
Right. Right.
Did you ever catch her shows when she was doing the residency in
I
Vegas?
didn't. So I wanted to catch her show when she was going to do it at the Mandalay Bay, but then that was when everything basically started and all the mess, and I was ready. I think that was called Domination show that she was going to do. I'm ready. I was ready for the outfits. I love her outfit changes. I'm like a kid from back in the day when like if VMAs were actually good, and if Britney Spears was performing, like you had to watch it.
Wasn't it the VMAs where she had the giant snake?
Slave for you.
Yep.
Hell yeah. She fucking danced with a boa constrictor and made it look hot. I'm not that brave.
Why not? Why not?
No.
Have you tried?
No.
Why not?
I'm good.
Aw. They're not venomous.
I know, but it's that 50-50 chance.
Oh, just make sure it's well fed before you go on stage.
Sure, yeah.
Don't worry. You're not a large human by any stretch, but I don't think you're small enough that a boa could just.
Yeah, I hear it's heavy.
Well, yeah.
I have some girlfriends that do that. They're amazing. Let them do that.
All right. I guess.
But I'll be a stripper. I'll work the pole. I could do that. I'll dance in 7-inch heels. Boa constrictor, that's where I draw the line.
All right. How about a smaller snake?
No.
No?
No. I can't.
You afraid of snakes or?
A little bit. Yeah.
Eh.
I just don't want to put myself in that situation.
Hey, I don't blame you.
Especially like, you're like half naked.
And also, it's like once you start losing articles of clothing, like where do you put the snake?
Yeah.
You can't throw the snake.
And what happens if he starts slithering back there?
Or hell,
the only thing he's gonna be grabbing is my butt, and I don't know if I can handle that. I when I was a kid, I got caught. So my friend was like, "Yeah, we'll go all the way to," like, we were in the backyard and we had to like bypass her Rottweiler to get to the gate to go back out into the front yard, and we weren't supposed to be there. She's like, "All right," she's like, "You just got to go really, really fast." I went so fast that Rottweiler bit my butt. I was traumatized. I think I was like 5.
Well,
So yeah, any type of animals back there, like, I'm good.
You ever get nervous with dudes back there? Like
Never.
like, oh, you might bite me. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no, not really. I was never scared about that. Once I learned that men love butts and stuff, I was like, all right, yeah,
We do.
that's good.
We do. It's just ingrained in us for some reason. It's like just a woman's curves. It's just like if you are a heterosexual, male, it's just like, oh, there's
And
just
if
something.
the butt jiggles, like, ding, like, yeah.
It's wild. It's just the amount of stupid shit we will do for the jiggly parts.
God bless the jiggly parts.
It's like, oh, the butt jiggles a little bit. It's like, yeah, whatever you want. Oh, I won't be able to pay rent this month. That's okay.
Yeah, love that. I didn't know my empowerment until I started going down this rabbit hole of this interesting industry.
Well, and it's wild to me that in 2023, with all these examples of like women being able to call shots because of sexuality, that like more people aren't aware of it.
When I learned about it, I got into a situation and whatever, and then I learned someone literally, like, trained me and taught me, like, all these things. He's like, "You don't know how to use your toolbox." And I'm like, "Okay." And so now I'm like, "Wow, I was a sandwich artist. I was assistant manager at a GameStop." I'm like, "You're telling me I could have been selling pictures of my feet?" Like, just telling my boss, just putting my feet in my boss's face. I coulda did that. Just shake my butt like that. Like, that's why they're so nice to me. Like, it just didn't occur to me. But I did work at Hooters, and then I was sorta learning a little bit about it, but I think, like, maybe some of the guys, like, threw some, like, things my way, and I was oblivious to it.
So, whew. How long were you at GameStop?
I was at GameStop for, like, 2 years,
Nice.
and my manager, like, liked me, and then he made me assistant manager, and then the other, like, nerdy guys that were working there didn't like me, and so they wouldn't help me much, and I would be like, "Oh, like, what is this game? Like, what?" And they go, "You need to play it to find out. That's how you gotta sell it." Like, so they really, like, weren't going for me, but there was, a, like, Howie's Game Shack, and so there was, like, Call of Duty players, and so on my like, I had a boyfriend that was really into it, so I was like, "Fuck yeah, I'm gonna learn this shit." I played Halo, started selling this because you gotta sell reservations and whatever, and I was proud of myself, but I was like, "Yeah, fuck you guys. You do this."
You think it was because they were just like, "There's no chance." There's just no they were upset because 'cause they're like,
Yeah,
"I got no
they
chance."
doubted me, and that also thrived me, but then also, like, once, like, like, nerdy kids would find out that I also had a second job working at Hooters, they would be like, "Oh, how's your other job?" And it was funny, and I didn't like, I started learning, I was like, "Oh, okay. My other job works," and, so it's like you're learning, but you're just hustling,
As you gotta do.
as you gotta do.
Are you a gamer at all, or
I'm like a baby gamer. Like, I haven't really gamed like I did back in the day, but it was really fun. I played all kinds of different stuff. I had different consoles, and I had to educate myself about this stuff. But it helped. I had a few boyfriends that were like super big, like into video games until like that was all they fucking did, and I was like, "God, fuck this video game system. I'm about to throw this out," like Halo, oh gosh, and Call of Duty online, and
oh, I know
them yelling at the little kids and shit. I'm like, "No, this is not sexy."
I know multiple women that very attractive, just neglected to death by their, significant other to fucking video games. Like, one of my friends effectively got a divorce because he wasn't fucking her because he was too busy playing WoW.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, the World of Warcraft. Yeah, I mean, but I found it really interesting. I also had, in high school, I used to have this boyfriend who would go and play Counter-Strike, and, like, I really wanted to hang out with him, and so he would have me go to this thing, and I had to play Counter-Strike, and I kinda liked it, but it was difficult because then the people would, like, kill me, but they would be, like, peeking, like, "Oh, there's the girl right there." But I didn't know what I was doing. But yeah, no, so I played a little, but I didn't let it, like, consume my life.
It's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, unless you become a professional video game player, which wasn't a thing.
I guess I liked dicks and sexual experiences over video games. And I got really into, like, raves too, so I started to, like, I started to turn into, music festivals. The Hooter girls actually corrupted me and took me to my first rave.
What was that like?
So the boyfriend that I was with, he was in that stage where he was, like, trying to pretend that, like, he didn't like me around his friends and whatever.
How old were you?
I was, like, 18.
Okay, you should outgrow that
Yeah,
shit by
like
18.
18, 19,
Like,
and
15, 16, that's still like, I mean, it's not acceptable behavior, but it's understandable behavior.
right.
But at 18, you shouldn't be, like, embarrassed to be around a hot girl.
It was just no, he was hot too, so he was just trying to act, like, really cool and stuff, but he would be, like, calling me and whatever. So anyways, so his friends, had took him out to a rave, and then they called me to pick them up, and they never call me, and they really, they were at this time where they're like, "Okay, we're done with this guy, so you need to, watch him." And he was I never seen anybody, on ecstasy, and he was like, "Oh, yeah." He was, telling me about the rave, and I was like and at this point, I'd only, drank and, smoked weed, and I was like, "Oh," I was like, "A music festival, and they have, lights." I was like, "I wanna go." And he was like, "No." He's like, "You can't go. If you go, I'm gonna break up with you." So he'd pull these, ultimatums, and then I was like, "That's fucked up." I was like, "That sounds fun." So I go to work the next day, and the girls are, in the room, they're like, "Oh," they're like, "Look at these pictures. We went to a rave." And I was like, "Oh," I was like, "My boyfriend was telling me about that." And she's like, "Yeah." She's like, "You wanna go with us?" She's like, "We could be total sluts. Nobody knows who we are. We have these rave names." And I was like, "Fuck yeah, let's go." Oh, he hated me. He didn't like me working at Hooters, and he really didn't like it that the girls took me to my first rave, and then eventually he had to, deal with it. Because once I went, I was like, "Well, fuck, I'm gonna go to more of these," and I kinda got into that scene. And then I became a dancer for raves and started dancing at music festivals.
Sick.
Yeah. So
Well, but what was that first rave like? Like, tell me about,
well,
getting
it
dragged into
wasn't okay, so it wasn't that great. So I went and ironically, the girl, Natalie, I remember, she had red hair and kind of like me and angel wings, right? And so I'm like, all right. And I never been to a concert before. So I was just like, yeah, I'm trying to be rebellious over my boyfriend. And I had to go to the bathroom. I had to go pee. And so there's at the Coliseum, there's that McDonald's. And so everybody goes. So you got to wait fucking forever to go. Natalie stayed in the line with her boyfriend. And I was like, yeah, just save my spot. Finally come back from the bathroom, and the group bum rushed the gate, so everybody was in there. I didn't know where my girlfriend went. So the whole time I'm looking for my girlfriend, and she had my pills too. And so I'm
what kind of pills?
well, ecstasy
Oh,
pills.
okay, so
Yeah.
you
So
bought
we were
X
ready.
you bought X just
We were prepared. And I had never done it in front of that big of a crowd. So I'm pissed off because I'm like, okay, first of all, where's this fucking bitch at? And then secondly, she's got my shit. So and so I'm walking around, and then everywhere, every girl that had red hair, I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone. I'd I turn them around and be like, "Natalie," and it's not her, right? And I was just like, "Oh my god." So then I bought a pill from somebody, and also the whole time I'm just stressing, I can't find her. And this guy sold me a pill and whatever, and because I was like, well, I might as well do something, and it was bunk. It wasn't even that good, and
oh, that's
yeah, and
gross.
so then I'm walking around on the outside, and this guy had a suit, they came from a wedding, and he was like, "Hey," he's like, "Oh, you look lost." I'm like, "I am." I'm like, "I gotta find my friend and whatever," and, so I'm all a nervous wreck. So he's walking with me, and he goes, well, he's like, "What do you think of the rave?" And I'm still on the outside, and I was like, "Well, it's cool, whatever." And he's like, "Have you gone inside the Coliseum?" And I was like, "No, what's that?" And then he takes me in the tunnel, and I see all the people. And I was like, "Oh my god." And then and he's like, "Let's go down there." And I was like, "All right, yeah, let's go." So I felt a little cool because I had somebody, but I'm still stressed out. And I'm also thinking, "Oh, maybe I'm gonna run into my boyfriend," but of course that didn't happen. And your phones are just shit. They're not working. So then when we get down to the bottom, then the guy he goes, "Hey," he's like, "I need to tell my friends where I'm at." He's like, "But here's my cell phone. If I'm not back in 10 minutes, text me." So I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "I'm gonna stay right here. You just come back here." I'm sitting there, and then this girl comes back. She goes, "Hey, you dropped your phone." And I'm like, no." I'm like, "That's not my phone." I'm like, "That's the phone I got to text in 10 minutes if this guy doesn't come back." Never saw the guy again.
Free
Like,
phone.
yeah. Well, I just left it because I'm like, "Whatever, I don't need this." And then I'm just, like, still, like, stressing out. I'm, like, around these people, and, then these Asian people help me, and I'm, like, shivering because I'm looking like a total slut, and I forgot like, it got cold at night, and these, like, Asian guys they gave me their shirt, and, I remember they tried to give me weed, and I was like, "What?" I was like, "Are you guys giving me drugs?" I was like, "Oh my god." I, like, walked away from them, and then at the end, finally, like, it was over, and everybody was happy, like, walking back to my car to my friend's car, and then I was like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, "Why didn't I just like, enjoy the rave?" And so I just started going to more of them and finding
It's
friends.
wild that you decided to keep going to them after that
I
experience.
know, I know, it's great, and actually, it was so funny, so my manager at GameStop, he was like, "Hey," because I was supposed to go to work or he was supposed to go to work and open the store, and then he was like, "Hey," he's like, "I gotta go." He's like, "You gotta do it." And I was like, "I can't do it. I literally just came back from a rave." He's like, "Just work like a couple hours." And I fucking went to work. And then like Zoomies was next door. So they're like playing music and I'm all like vibing out. And yeah, and then I just started going to raves and I loved it. And it actually really like helped my confidence like be cool with being in like places that I'm not really like familiar with and getting like more social and
Were you kind of a shy kid, or
I was I wasn't shy. I just was very much, like, in my hometown. I, like, stayed in my hometown, stayed in my circle, and then when I someone took me to an LA party, and I was like, "Well, fuck." I was like, "This is cool." I was like, "But I don't know anybody." So, it just made me be more open to, like, going into, like, moving into, like, bigger cities and
got you out of your comfort zone a little bit?
yeah. Yeah.
Nice, nice.
So, boyfriend hated it.
I mean, everything you're telling me about this dude is like, oh, well, this is obviously someone you dated when you were young, and obviously,
Right.
hopefully, he's matured as a human being by this point in his life. Otherwise, someone is stuck with someone who's horrible.
Yeah, no comment on that,
Well,
but
as long as you're not stuck with him, he's
not at all, but it was, these people you get into these relationships and they kinda, like, hold you back from, like, your full potential. I mean, I kinda did the craziest thing, I went into porn, but it was,
oh my god.
yeah, I mean, it was but it's, like, just the journey of how I even got here to, like, who I used to be is kind of, like, mind fuck.
It definitely is. I mean, I think we're only now getting to like a generation of people who are like, "Oh yeah, I want to be in porn." Like as someone who's not of age yet. Like I had someone on earlier this year who's just like, "Oh no, no, no." In high school, I decided I want to do porn, but like anyone else, like it's not what do on
Never,
when people were
never
like, "What do you
was
want to be?"
on my aspirations
Right,
as a
exactly.
kid.
It's never like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" Porn star. No, no one.
No, I actually hated porn. I didn't even, like, care about sex. I hated porn because I used to always catch this boyfriend jerking off, and then he would, like, blame me, and he'd be like, "Well, we didn't do anything, so I had to do this," like, total, like, gaslighting and shit.
Were you guys even sexually active at that
Oh,
point?
very, like, yeah, that was my guy, that was my one and only, and, I just was always like, "Why is this guy?" I didn't understand porn addiction or like, it was not a thing for me, and so when I would always catch him and then he kind of made me, like, be more open. We did threesomes and got more open to women and stuff, and then I started to learn we had different tastes in women, and it just I grew apart from him, but it was just so interesting, the whole thing, but I loved this guy, and so I was
How did he broach the first threesome?
well, he cheated on me a lot, and then it got to a point where, like, I really wanted to be with him, and he really wanted to be with me, but he just had this, like, thing, this problem, and he was like, "Okay."
That's horrible.
Yeah, I know, and then he was like, "Well," he's like, "Would you, be open to doing that?" And I kind of I was young and naive, and I was like, "Fine, I'll do it in the beginning just to appease him." Yeah, and then I learned that it was just this, like, self like torture thing on myself because I really didn't want to do that. But then over time, it just started to like have me like learn about these type of things, these type of interactions, and it was really difficult, but it was like, well, I just have to like get used to this till you get fed up with it.
Right, and hopefully you do get fed up with it because some people never get
Right.
some people don't ever have the self-esteem to walk away from that shit. They're just like, "But I love him," and they just keep letting the fucking
It's a terrible, like, toxic back and forth, but then it just you over time, you really have to go into, like, a place of self-love, start learning, like, "Am I deserving of this? Is this what I wanna do for the rest of my life? Like, is this satisfying to me?" And I just got, like, real miserable until I was just like, "Well, I'm fucking curious to be with other guys. If you wanna fucking always be with I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't mind. I think women are beautiful, and I love interacting with them, but I still love dick. Like,
oh my god, oh
dick
no,
over pussy."
oh no, oh no, oh no, look, that's fine,
Yeah.
but the fact that, like, and I don't mean to victim blame people that stay in abusive relationships, but it's just like, shit is not gonna change until people decide that they've
It's
had
a
enough.
hard
Yeah.
cycle to break because you don't know sometimes you don't know you're in it, and then you really like, I've gone through so many different abusive relationships in different ways, emotional abuse, physical abuse, to, like, financial abuse, to, like, narcissism and sociopath, like, and it's just like, but it was also in a sense my fault. I did put myself into these situations, but it's like when I started to learn, okay, am I going to just deal with this person and do the things that makes him happy and sacrifice all the things that I want to do, or if I'm going to take my hands, like if I'm going to take my life and put it into like what I want to do. And you just can take it for so long until you're just like, I'm fucking done.
Well, and good on you for being fucking done.
Yeah.
Because I've had friends in the past where it's just like the whole peer group's like, "That is a bad scene. This is a bad relationship for this person," but they're so fucking far in it that, like, you're gonna effectively end the friendship if you try to, like, intervene.
And it's so like hard because you're also it's like shameful, like because you're also like friends that know you both of you, and then you feel shameful that you don't want them to see that you guys are breaking up and you guys aren't having issues, and what are they going to think of me when I'm not with this guy? I put a lot of that into it. One of my abusive relationships, I was so concerned about what my friends would think of me until I was just like, holy shit, like I'm getting my ass beat. I'm paying the bills. I'm having the apartment. I have the car. And then this fucker is also going to try to like steal my car to go see other women. And it's like, enough is enough. Like and I just, that fuck it got in my system and I was just over it. And I started to, I am very much a people pleaser, but it's like once you've like really showed me that you're a fucked up person and you don't appreciate me, it's like, no, you're not getting the same courtesy anymore.
Nor should you, nor should you.
But it takes a really like long, hard time, trials and tribulations of crying and believing the bullshit that these guys would say. Because when they're saying hurtful things, it's hurtful because you love this person. And then when you finally get fed up and you're just like, fuck it, I'm going to go. I don't need this. And then they want to hold on to you and manipulate you and say all the things you want to hear so you don't make that move. But then when you start to like look back and you're like, you're a fucking liar. You're saying this because you just want it's comfortable to you. And you need me for whatever it is, survival, food, fucking shelter, looking cool in front of your friends. And then it's like that you're just breaking that trauma bond. And now I don't have an issue with it. It's still like it's hard to get attached to people, but it's also like when you see so many shitty people, you're just like, I don't give a fuck about. I know this pattern. I don't give a fuck what the fuck you say because I don't know if it's true. I will base it off of actions. So if you're being fucked up to me in like a blink of an eye, then fuck you. I'm not gonna fucking give you everything you want because I do that.
So, do you have any fear of, like, getting into new relationships now? Are you gun shy to, like, get
It happens. But it's
Well,
like
the gun shy happens or the relationship side?
no, just the relationship part. It's like, honestly, I've problem with being in the adult industry and having relationships is it's really hard to let these people pour their insecurities and their feelings onto the fact that you are doing a job. And I've gotten it's taken me a really long time to really get to a place where I cut jealousy off. I also I tell them the truth. I tell them what I'm going to do, not for them, not for their feelings, for me. Because I need to know, okay, I'm going to go do this, right? I'm getting the bag. I'm getting this is going to get that. Don't fucking get in my head and say that I'm doing this against your back and not, you don't have the maturity to handle that. This is an office, like, this is my office, right? And I've tried some relationships and I've just been like, yo, like I like, the spontaneousness and I love like the chemistry with people. And I just don't feel like there's this pressure to need to like get into a relationship unless if you're really going to reciprocate and try to be a fair partner and understand like what my work is. And I'm not fucking stopping it for your feelings.
And nor fucking should you, because at the end of the day, they're probably attracted to you because you're an adult performer. And it's like
It does lure them in.
right, and it's one of those things where, like, it'd be a whole 'nother fucking thing if, like, y'all were all ready together and you're like, "Hey, I'm thinking about, I wanna get into adult." Then it's a conversation.
Right.
But if this is who you are when you meet the person, you have no fucking right to be like, "Yo, stop what you were doing that I was attracted to because it now hurts my fucking ego." And it's a tale as old as fucking time.
And I wish it was so, like, straightforward like that, but no, they have to play these other, like, little
Well,
mind
they're
games
fucking
and, like,
egos.
it's very much like, an ego, like, attack on their ego,
Well, yeah,
but
'cause it's like, "Oh, that's my girl." Like, no, bro, she's another human being who
right, like, that I'm their property, but, when I did take a break from the adult industry, like, I stopped, I kind of felt like I was in this dark space, I didn't really know what I was doing, I couldn't really, like, find myself, and I wasn't really happy with what was going on, so got this boyfriend, and this boyfriend was like, "Oh, you know what? You really don't look happy, like, I'll take care of you," moved me into his place, and in the beginning, it was really nice, and it was almost like, "Wow, like, you're genuine and you're taking care of me." And it was good for, like, a few years, and then it started to develop this, like, resentment, and he started to, like, say things like, "Oh, you're broke, like, you don't help," like, whatever, and I was still kind of mentally, like, going through something, and I just felt like I had this boyfriend that was gonna support me, but I started to learn, like, that's not stable, and that's not going to be efficient long term, and I do need to, like, bust my ass, so he tried to help me get, like, a job. I got a job at a dispensary and stuff, and, like, the way they were treating me was, like, fucking bullshit, and,
what happened?
I filled in. I love bud tending. It's probably one of my favorite jobs, but, girls be hating on you, and so I got a bud tender job, and then all these girls were, like, calling off, and I was picking up their shifts, so I was just, like, fucking, like, hustling, right? And then I asked the girl in advance, I was like, "I need 1 this one particular day off because my dad was getting out of jail and I wanted to pick him up, and it didn't matter who like was coming in my way. I was like, I'm picking up my dad. And the fucking bitch schedules me on the day that I asked for. And so I'm like, working. We had like a big rush and I just stopped and I was just like, hey, gotta talk to you guys. And they're like freaking out. They're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, this ain't working for me. I asked you for that day. I know it was none of your business, but I'm picking my dad up from jail. So this ain't gonna work. Don't really need this. And I was really considering at that point because, butt tending was really cool because it was like you were getting tips. And what was interesting was I would get a lot of tips for people having conversations. And it was almost like a place where they could kind of come in, get your shit, smoke, take a little break from the day. And people were really tipping me a lot because they were just like, wow, you really listen and you really find what I'm looking for and stuff. And the girls were like hating on me. And so when I quit and I just went home and whatever, and then he was like yelling at me because he helped me get the job back. And I was like, what? I was like, you know what? I'm like, fuck you. I'm like, I'm broke. I'm like, I'm broke. I'm like, watch me get this money and you really are not gonna like how I make it. But it's like when you keep poking somebody and you keep poking somebody, you just get to that point where it's like, oh, you really gonna like fucking disrespect me like that? Like, let me disrespect you.
That sounds super healthy.
Yeah.
It sounds like he got himself into a situation that he was over his fucking head. Because it's like,
Right.
if you're Captain Save a Hoe and you're going to save a hoe, you need to save a hoe. You can't just be like,
But if you gonna fucking, mistreat the hoe, well, she's just gonna go back to her hoe-ness.
right. Well, it's like, if you are, oh, I'm going to save you from this life. You can't be like, oh, I fucked up. I didn't mean to. I'm not actually going to save you from this life.
You can't like sit there and like antagonize me and be condescending to me.
And resent you for fucking.
Absolutely.
Resent you for doing what I said I was going to do. Like, I'm going to take you from this life. I'm going to take you from, I'm going to be Captain Save-A-Ho and then resent you for being Captain.
Right.
Like, that's fucked up.
And it's like, it's not like I did it in a very like irresponsible way. It was very responsible. It's like, I picked up so many fucking shifts, like, because I was like, fuck yeah, like, I want to work. I want to like, because I was kind of looking at it, I was like, oh, this is kind of like the strip club, but like different, And I liked that the weed aspect was there, and I was tipping, and anybody who like worked with me was making money.
And as fucked up as it is, I'm sure it has less of a social stigma than working in a strip club.
Way. But it was also so that was like kind of during Prop 215. So this was like before the corporate and the regulation.
Before it looked like a fucking Mac store.
Right. It was not. It was always in these like underground, like hood areas. But I liked it and it was dope because it was just like, as long as you came in like casual, like you could come in really LA style, like whatever your thing is, jeans, tank tops, like earrings and shit. And it was just like low profile, but like cool, like just vibes. And I loved that because in stripping, obviously you have to do, you have to glam up and, be this like character.
Well, and you also have to sell that like you give a fuck about what this dude's talking about.
Right.
Like, people don't seem to realize that like stripping is not just getting naked on stage.
It's not.
It's being a fucking therapist. It's being,
a salesperson, because you also have to like keep in mind, like, bro, like you got 10 minutes and if we ain't talking money, I gotta go. Like, and it's also doing that and saying it gracefully so that they don't get offended, but they understand that like I'm working, I'm on my hustle.
Well, and what's funny to me is on the flip side, I spent a number of years as a roadie and like I don't like strip clubs as a patron.
I love that.
And it's one of those things where like I'll tell girls like when I'm get dragged there by people and like I'm just thinking like, yo, I don't want to waste your time. I'm not spending.
Right.
And like I've been called an asshole on multiple occasions by house girls. Like, I'm like, yo, I'm just trying not to waste your time here.
Sometimes it's a natural reaction.
Well, I mean, I'm not losing any sleep over it, but it's still funny to me. Like, I'm really looking out for your interest here. I'm not trying to waste 10 minutes of your time for you to be like, so dance? I'm like, nah, I'm cool.
Yeah.
Like,
It's really hard for us to take rejection and over time and experience, like, you get better at it, and I've got I mean, I still get rejection sometimes, not
oh,
everybody's in love with me.
oh my God, how?
I
How?
know,
How?
but it's, just like the art of the hustle and staying on the grind and hustle tricks to, like, in the strip club. It's fun, it's fascinating, and it's like for me, I always say it's like the female's form of gambling.
Well, except you're the house.
Yeah,
Yeah, the odds are definitely in your favor. Because most people are coming to the club because they want to be in the club because they want to spend money.
right.
So it's like, oh, you have the product that they want, and you're here presenting it.
Right.
So
But it's also like there's a process to it.
oh, for
And
sure.
you can't just like walk up to the guy and just be like, hey, you want to go VIP? Because that guy, like, he doesn't even know your name.
Well,
There's no rapport built.
I feel like that is what happens in a lot of Vegas clubs. And that's why I especially dislike being in Vegas clubs because there's no finesse to it. Because there's 100 girls on the deja vu floor, and they're just like, "So dance."
So, and okay, so I'm a OG, all right? I started in 2014, so technically next year it would be 10 years that I've been stripping, and Vegas I danced one time out here at a strip club, and then a girl told me, she's like, "Oh, you should go to Vegas. It's topless and 24/7." And I was like, "Fuck yeah." So I learned a lot of my grassroots from my main club, Rhino, and I learned a lot. And back then, strippers like the OGs then, it was way different. And it was like, and this girl who took me to my first club, she gave me this like stripper's handbook that it was like an ebook. She kinda didn't wanna give it to me at first, and I didn't know. I didn't know that, like, I thought every stripper got a stripper's handbook, but it had, like, very useful, like, tactics that you can use when you're in there and you try them out, and it
Can you
was like
tell?
a roadmap
Can you
for
tell the class some of the tactics?
I could.
Will you?
Kind of like so when you're talking to a guy, right? And say a guy wants to like go do like a VIP or do a floor dance. Well, then you can start to sell sets of time. So you could be like, "Oh, baby, I would love to talk to you more, but we need to either like do a dance here or we need to go to VIP." And then if you give him 2 options, so it doesn't sound like you're hustling him, you could be like, If you want, you can sell me like 5 songs here and we'll do a couple songs and we won't get interrupted. Or we could go in the VIP and it's sort of the same price, but it's whatever works for you." And when I started using, like, those things and, like, some of the girls would be like, "Oh, like, I didn't know you can do that," and really, like, you get no training. Like, nobody is training you.
Well, because it's one of those things like the house doesn't really care what you make.
No.
You gotta and correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of places you gotta pay a stage fee.
You pay a house fee. So you pay your house fee, but that doesn't mean that that's it because then there's tipping involved. Everybody's working for tips. Managers, if you're tipping them or, showing them love, then they're going to show you love. Like basically you guys scratch backs to
Which is crazy because California made it illegal to tip out management.
yeah, and okay, look, I used to be a stripper. I would do LA and Vegas, and it was sort of nice because it's like LA would be like more like home, like chill. But I learned that working at a bikini bar was a lot better than working at the strip club because bikini bar was full bar, no like nudity, and the strip club was all nude, no alcohol. And I just felt like the all nude clubs were a little weird, and I felt like the guys were, like, overly horny and they needed alcohol and just to, like, contain themselves, where the bikini bar, I got some of my best, like, regulars, and they liked kind of the tease of it, they liked the conversation of it, and it just kinda, like them made them like you, like, a lot longer, and it was nice, and it was dope. The guy, the manager, he used to or, like, the owner, he used to let me sell weed to, like, guys, like, outside, like, I would be able to, like, take them outside. And this is kinda, like, before it was recreational. So I used to have these, like some of these, like, rich guys or whatever, they would ask me to, like, get them some Ace or whatever, or had, like, young guys come and buy that was cool for a second. But then, yeah, once they changed that law, I was like, "Oh, California's fucked." I was like, "I'm only dancing in Vegas," and that was kinda what I did.
I don't blame you. I've worked in a handful of California clubs. I think clubs here are lame.
They're lame.
As
Why? Like,
well, it's crazy because it's like as liberal as California is, it's like, oh, we're gonna be a giant nanny state when it comes to strip
I
clubs.
know. It's, like, so weird.
Because it's like, oh my god, there's alcohol, and heaven forbid they see a fucking nipple while they're drunk.
It's like, it makes no sense.
It does, it does. And then with AB5 coming through and like, oh, girls have to be employees now.
Yes, like, yeah, once it was the girls had to be employees, I was like, "I'm out," like, because then they're making money off of everything where you would pay a house fee, and then maybe you tip along the way as they're helping you, but,
And
like, whatever you made was yours.
I'm sure depending on the club, like you might have to tip out on like private on VIP dances a little
Yes,
bit.
yeah, all that. So it's like, no, it was a no-brainer to just transition and stay dancing in Vegas. And I even, like I took a break from dancing in Vegas because I was making a lot of money and stuff, and then I was like, I'm just gonna be in LA." Like, I was in that LA phase, right? And because every time I would go to Vegas on the weekend, I'm, like, missing LA. Why? I don't know. And,
LA is pretty cool.
it was cool, it was cooler back in the day. And then, I just I don't know, I just, like stopped going to LA, and I just started staying in Vegas and started getting like a little bit more. Actually, I remember the girls from the bikini bar, they asked me to take them to Vegas, and I took them. And I've taken a lot of girls that were probably like really good hustlers in LA. And when they go to Vegas, they just crack under pressure because they're so focused on how many girls there are, and they get in their head. And it's like, don't focus on the girls. You need to focus on the Johns.
Right. I
Those
agree.
are the customers are who you got to focus on. There literally is a guy for every girl, and a girl will always make money from any type of customer. But you got to put the hustle in it.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Like I have found the couple times I've been a patron in clubs in Vegas, like the hustle wasn't personable enough for me. Because like if I'm in a strip club, I'm there for you to sell me a fantasy. I'm there for you to sell me that you're into my bullshit. And like there may be a chance here, not just the transactional nature of like, so you want to dance? Like, no, I'm cool.
Yeah.
Like I don't just need someone to grind on me. Like I know I'm not taking you home.
I think that's like a lot of like the younger girls who came into the scene, and they don't.
I mean, I had that experience like in 2011 in Vegas.
You got to read people.
Well, apparently I looked like the guy that was like, oh, this guy just wants friction. Like, no, I want to be romanced, girl. I need you to care about my bullshit a little bit. Like,
Give me a little like.
yeah, just pretend. Take my hard-earned money, but pretend that you give a fuck about what I have to say.
I really love it, and I still use this to this day. Like, guys, like, I'll sit down with them. They'll be like, "What's your name?" And I'm like, "Onyx Muse." And they're like, "That's a weird stripper name. You should have used something else." And I'm like, "Well, I'm actually a porn star, so I'm using that name." They'd be like, "You're a porn star?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I look it up." And then it turns into like I'm a scientist, and they want to ask me all these questions. But of course, I got to put the hustle on it and be like, "Okay, you got to pay for this time, but sure." And so
You're just giving porn star Q&As for
yeah,
money.
it was just like it started to turn into like my business card, and it was awesome because it made me like work smarter, not harder. But it's also like you got to be a wordsmith. You got to know how to talk to people, and have a sense of humor, and make the guys laugh a little bit because they're also like, they got their guard up. They got a lot of things.
Well, because they have all this thing in the back of their head, like, oh, these girls are just looking to rip me off.
Yes, yes. There's so many guys. I know so many guys who are like spooked, and especially in Vegas, that they're afraid that they're gonna get hustled. And It's
I mean, you are,
sad.
bro. You are gonna
I
get
mean, you're
hustled.
gonna get,
But
like
consensually hustled.
right. I guess there's, like, an ethical part that some girls, they don't
Well, because
always stay ethical, and so then it scares that guy for
right, like, because
future.
if we agree that I'm gonna take you in back for 3 private dances, and you charge me what we've agreed upon, and I tip you extra on that, like, everything's well and good. But if you're like, someone douses my drink and maxes my credit card,
Yes.
that's a different story. That's not cool.
Yes.
What I consensually agree to, even if it's stupid in the morning, like, "Goddamn, I was drunk, I shouldn't have spent that money," that's fine. I agreed to that.
Sure.
But the
But it's like, and I always like, for girls, or this is how I look at things, I always look for the long run. Sure, you could get that short term investment, or that like come up where you get money from that guy, but that guy could be a regular, and that guy could hit you up every time he comes to Vegas and whatever. And if you tarnish that the first time, he's never going to come back to you.
well, and on top of it, it's 2023. We're in the land of social media. Like, if someone gets their fucking bank statement, it's like, how did I spend $20,000 in Little Darlings last night?
Right, right.
By the way, I am just randomly throwing strip club
Little
names.
darlings. Yeah, I'm like, what are you spending it on?
I'm just throwing random strip club names out there. Like, I am not calling out any particular club. When I said hundreds of girls in Deja Vu earlier, I am literally just naming random clubs. So
Right.
I am not calling out anyone specifically. I'm just like, and this club, like, I'm just throwing, like, don't at me. Don't at me on that. But, you spend $20,000, like, oh yeah, I got my receipt back. I spent $20,000 in the club last night. I didn't mean to, like, they're gonna blow, like, other people may see them and be like, I'm not going in there.
Right.
They're gonna fucking rob me.
Hmm.
And if a club gets a reputation for, like, robbing motherfuckers,
Right.
people,
And
that hurts everybody.
I don't support that. I think, even as a dancer, like, you gotta earn it, girl. Like, you gotta, like, put, like, and two, like, if you're gonna be a fucking dancer, like, try. That poll is there. Take classes. Go on YouTube or whatever. Try to learn some floor work. Like, at least try. Like, there's so many girls that are, especially like Vegas, they're coming in, they're getting a dancer, and they'll like booty tap the pole like once. And it's like, no, like that art form is dying. And there's only a few like small niche of women that are still keeping that shit alive, because it's really fun and it's really addicting, and it's like really good fitness too.
Well, there was that whole trend of, like, selling civilians on pole dancing as, like, a fitness routine.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's fun. And it's like, it's just, especially doing it in 7-inch heels, 8-inch heels.
I will take your word for it. I am never going to wear 8-inch heels in my life. So I will take your word that that's fun. Because all 8-inch heels would answer for me is me falling flat on my fucking face.
Yeah.
Like, my fucking feet, and because I know they make 8-inch heels in my foot size, but
Yes.
I will still fall the fuck over.
We have to be gender equality.
Right? I'm just saying.
Men love wearing, and all genders love wearing 8-inch heels.
Just not this dude. Like,
Yeah.
I know I don't have the balance for it. Like, I can't put on some pleasers. Like, it's just, it ain't happening.
Ugh.
I'm sorry to disappoint you.
No worries. I'm not offended. I'll wear them for you.
You're gonna wear them for me?
I'll wear them for you.
I mean, my shoe size might be
Not your size,
I was about
but
to say,
in
'cause
my size.
Yeah, I was about to say that'd be a little big on you.
So you'll vicariously live through me wearing the heels for you.
Okay. I mean, I never really wanted that, but okay.
Yeah.
I won't say no if that'll make you happy.
It's just like that. It's that thing. It's like Britney. It's like when you hear that Slave for You, when you put those heels on, it's like you want to get into your bad bitch.
And the clack clack when
Oh, that's like big money time.
Yeah. As I said, I've been a roadie for a long time, so like
I know, right? I went to school for sound engineering, music production, but like, oh my God, like I really wanted to be a roadie. But I know you got to do a lot of bitch work and a lot, like you got to earn your stripes. But yeah.
Oh, I was never a musical roadie. I was just a feature dance roadie.
Oh, a feature. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, no, I did work. I have.
Oh yeah, that was fun. I did roadie for a girlfriend of mine too. Like that was really that's cool.
I've done some work in music, but never like on major productions on.
How was that? Yeah, like did do like pick up the outfits,
Oh yeah, no,
yeah,
I've done all that.
pieces,
Done
and
all that. Definitely like gotten people the fuck out of the club when it like this is looking real sketchy, real right now. Like
right.
I was telling someone this the other night. I was in a gig in Madison, Wisconsin with a feature, and the club lets a whole bunch of outlaws wear their cuts in the club.
Mm.
You know, they're one percenters.
Oh wow.
Like,
Okay.
and I'm like, yo, the fact that they're letting them wear their fucking, their vests, their cuts
Yeah.
in the clubs, like, this isn't good. She was already done with both her sets that night. We were just doing the meet and greet. I'm like, yo, I think it's time for us to go.
Yeah.
Like, there's like 15 of them, and like they're not acting up in any way, shape, or form. But it tells me something that if management's cool with them wearing their one percenter patches, like wearing the outlaw motorcycle,
Yeah.
cut in the club, that this is effectively their club. And if they decide that they want to play with you right now, there
Sure.
ain't shit we're doing about it. So we should go.
Yeah. That's probably a good move. I when I did roadie for my girlfriend, and it was cool because she was like, "Yeah, maybe you can like help me." I lined up her VIPs, and I was strictly being her roadie, my girl Danny Jensen, and it was funny. And guys were like, because I like wore all black and I had boots, and I was like, in my non-performer zone, and the guys were like, "You're kind of hot, like." Can I get a dance with you? And I'm like, sorry, I'm off duty. But it was like, because I want to be fair to her, but it was like hilarious. And my girlfriend loved it because she was like, wow, she's like, I never got so many VIPs. Or she's like, you're really good at this. And I'm like, it's on the hustle tricks.
See, no one ever asked me to like give them a dance while I was on that job. Not once. I did have to get drunk with some VIPs though. Like,
I'm sure.
the, we were in fucking Philly, and it was just like this high roller. The management's just like, that is one of our like high fucking rollers, and he wants to have a drink with the feature. And so her and I come off stage, and he's like, "Oh, I want to buy you shots," and she's just like, "Matt, you're doing my shot for me."
Oop.
Like clang, clang.
Yep.
Like I'm just doing all her shots for her. Like
Good.
I'm like, I relatively should be staying sober here. I'm technically supposed to be providing security for you, but
Yeah. You're like, I need somebody to provide security for me.
right? But it's part of the job.
Hey.
She didn't want to do the shots, so I had to.
And it's probably smart of her because you don't want to get too sloppy.
Yeah, but you also probably don't want the guy who's scooping your money and making sure you get from point A to point B too
Mm,
sloppy either. Luckily, I can
yeah.
hold my booze, so it was. And dude was drinking like coffee Patron, so it's like
Oh,
low proof. I'm just like, I can probably drink this all night. It'll be fine.
yeah, that's big. I like reposado.
I know, like you were. So many people, a fair amount of people do drink tequila on here, but you're the only person who has ever asked for reposado. Like,
I'm very particular. Like that's my go-to drink. I do like Casamigos. I'll like switch it up because Casamigos is pretty lighter on me, but Don Julio's been like, and of course, they're for fancy times to get the 1942.
well, I have a bottle of Año on the bar, and like there's some Blanco over there, but like nobody ever asked for reposado, so I was just like, oh, all right.
I know. I guess yeah, they say Blanco or yeah, Blanco is the better kind,
I
but
mean, it's a matter of taste. I
it's
mean,
a matter of taste. I don't know. I just like reposado.
there's nothing wrong with it. Blancos just means it's unaged.
Yeah.
Just
So
absolutely.
agave. It's all gonna get you fucked up.
Oh my god, is it gonna get you fucked up? I had no clue. Alcohol does that?
But you know what? I had to learn what my liquor was. Vodka is definitely not my liquor at all.
How'd you find that out?
Okay, I used to be a club promoter, and then we would always get like free bottles, and of course it's vodka, right? So you do the vodka cranberry, the Red Bull. I would always be blacked out drunk, and then I'm like, I had a few instances of these moments where I was like, I wake up and I'm like, holy fuck. I'm like, I don't know how I went down the stairs to my apartment and landed in my bed, like with my boyfriend, but my boyfriend was fucked up. And I was like, that's pretty dangerous.
Nothing like alcoholic time travel.
Yeah. And then I switched to wine, and then like I was falling asleep a lot, and I was like, okay, that's not my thing. And then when I found tequila, and then I put pineapple randomly, and I was like, this is it. This is my drink.
Hey, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Like, it takes some people a lifetime to figure out the booze that they actually like.
Right.
So good on you.
But I'm like a social drinker. I don't need to like go too hard on it. I'm more of a stoner.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
But hey, when you have both of them at the same time, it's not a bad day.
It is for me because I have no THC tolerance. Like, if you want to watch me just fall over, you want to just watch my asses.
Oh my God. So this has happened recently. So I'm an avid cannabis user for some time.
I could tell.
And it's like no pressure. Like I don't need guys or anybody to like they don't have to do it. But
okay, good. We can still be friends.
They just have to like allow me to do it, or I don't give a fuck, I'm gonna do it, right? So I had I had a gentleman, and he's a little older, a lot older than me, and we're just
how old are we talking?
probably like like 50s, right?
Okay.
And
a distinguished gentleman.
Yeah, I mean, fairly like healthy guy, and he wanted to smoke weed with me, and I was like, it doesn't matter, like I just need to smoke weed because like I need to bring my anxiety down. Usually when it's like you do these dinner things and they're always like so early in Vegas, like we're like late people. So it's like to get to a dinner at 8 o'clock is a lot, especially if you have a kid. But so we go, and then after the show, I'm like, I gotta go to the parking lot. I just need to smoke. And the guy like smokes the joint with me, and we're like talking, and then he passed out. And I was like, whoa, shit. I was like, are you okay? And he was like, did I pass out? And I was like, yeah. And then I was like, here, hold on. So he's like, where's my, I was like, here, why don't you like sit in my car? And I turned around to like open the door, and he passed out again. And then like people were like looking, and I was like, oh shit. And then I like told the guy, I was like, you have health problems like that? Do I need to know about? And he was like, no, he's like, I'm healthy. I go on the treadmill. And then I was like, when's the last time you smoked a joint? And he's like 10 years ago. I was like, what the fuck? Like, you don't need to like go with me. Like I do this. This is my life. Like
he liked you.
Yeah. And then I had to like therapy him back to his room and just like, drop him off. But I was like, do you need to go to the hospital? And so now, so guy got saved, made it to his room. Everything was good. But for a second, he couldn't like walk for.
Oh, that is such a like pre-nut clarity move.
Yeah.
It's like,
and I had to mom him. I was like, okay, look, bro, you've been gambling all day. You've been drinking alcohol. You didn't even fucking eat really at dinner. So you need to drink water. You need to put protein. Like, I'm like, why are you doing this?
Because he wanted to fuck you.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to fuck you. Like, come on.
And then,
that's exactly, every dude has been in that moment where like, oh, dude, I definitely want to fuck. Oh, she wants to do this thing that's probably not the best idea. I'm going to go do it because I want to fuck.
I have another story of, I believe, a gentleman who wanted, a younger guy who he like wanted to hook up with me, but me and my friends, we were going to do acid. And when I do acid, like, no, we ain't fucking. Like, I'm not like, I'm gonna see shit and I'm gonna get all fucking.
You've never fucked on acid?
Not really. Like,
I've done it a couple times.
I think maybe I got horny and stuff, like maybe like 1 or 2 times, but not really. I mean, really like take it in to like enjoy like the hallucinations and like the epiphanies and whatever.
Well,
but
I have to admit, it's generally not been the best.
But it's not like your go-to drug that you would doing okay.
No, definitely not. It was definitely one of those like.
So it was really funny. Like this guy, I love him. He did it with me, thinking like, oh, we're gonna get closer, and
like this is an Ebro.
Yeah, and I had to like shaman him. Like I had to keep like kind of like saying his name, like making sure that he was like there. He started kind of like he would like freak out a little bit. And I was just like, oh yeah, like no, like we ain't fucking like, but I had to like keep bringing him back to life because he kept being like, oh my God, like what am I supposed to do? He's like, I shouldn't be doing this. He's like, I need to be at the studio. I'm like, no, you do not need to be at the studio. Like you can't even focused on
was that his first trip?
That was his first trip. And then it was so funny because my girlfriend, like, We went through this whole like saga, just like trying to get him to like feel cool. And then finally, when it went over, and we're all like fucking dead because we're like exhausted trying to like help him be cool. And then after, he's like, wow. He's like, I did it. He's like, I did acid. And I'm like, great. Like, but yeah, so I've kind of had guys do things that they're probably, they had an objective.
Yeah, they had an ulterior motive. As I said, every dude has been there.
It totally intervened their objective.
Every dude has been there. Just like, I'm trying to think of a time. Like, I know I've done it. I'm just trying to think of like, it's definitely happened multiple times. But there's been multiple times. Yeah, as I said, multiple times in my life where it's just like, oh, I ended up in some place where it's just like, oh, I definitely wouldn't want to be here.
Right.
Except that I was trying to get my dick wet.
But I know, like now, like back in the day, remember I was telling you I was naive? Like now I know 100%. Like I saw a meme the other day and it was like, there's nobody nicer than a guy who hasn't fucked you.
It's accurate. Well, and there's a caveat on that. There's no guy nicer who hasn't fucked you who thinks he can.
Right.
At the point where he's like, oh, this ain't happening. Like, you'll see the shift. You'll see the fucking shift and like, oh yeah, this dude knows that like he's not getting any. So
right.
You may be less nice.
So it's funny. I think it's funny when guys approach me or they're in my DMs and I know what the fuck it is. It's like,
yeah, not new.
Yeah, but it's funny. I'll play along and I mind fuck them back. Yeah.
Are you leading dudes on? You're like, oh yeah, baby. Like,
oh no. I don't lead them on. I just get. They came a knocking, so I'm gonna fuck. Like, if they're gonna try to like manipulate me and whatever, like, nah, I'm gonna fuck with your head.
How you fucking with them?
I just like mind fuck them. I like confuse them and. I don't give like straight answers and I just keep them like guessing and I always make it where it's like, oh yeah, well you gotta earn it. You need to like come see me in person. I try to take them off of the texting because people can be a lot of different personalities besides the person that they actually are behind the keyboard.
Well, yeah, because everyone's bold behind the keyboard.
Right.
The minute it's like, oh God, she can actually see me, and oh God, oh no, then like the confidence can fucking just melt.
I don't spend time going to the back and forth. Like I'll cut the back and forth off, and maybe I'll even like be like engaging, and then it just like go dark.
You ever just like, yo, you can come see me in the club at?
100%. I've done that many times, and it's actually good marketing because. When they come into the club, it's cool because it's safe because I have security there. I have my managers there. I have anything like, but it's like, oh, you could come. I've had guys be like, oh, you want to have a meeting? Like, yeah, cool. Have a drink with me there. And then I'm in lingerie and stuff and my stripper outfit. And they're just like, well, I'm trying to be professional, but you're there's a bunch of girls walking by, so it's really funny, and then I also judge them. I judge them by like on their actions and whatever. But it's like I'm not stupid.
No.
Yeah.
You know what they want.
It's funny.
Well, and it's a fucked up part of society where like we got to play this dance. We can't because you can't do it. But like, yo, girl, I want to fuck.
Well, I just like exactly. And my whole thing is like. Like when guys are like, oh, I love to take you to dinner. I could buy myself dinner. How about you buy me shoes? You buy me something. Like earn my time. So if it's not going along those lines, then I bring them to the club because it's like, hey, like, what? Let's not beat around the bush. Just come here. You could really see me in my element, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to jump on you or whatever. Like now you're going to be in my comfort zone.
But the question is, the minute you take them into your comfort zone, the minute they're buying you shoes and shit like that, are you disqualifying them as a potential romantic partner?
Well, I never consider them as a
partner,
but I don't know. It depends. Like they have to like wow me. They have to surprise me. Fuck me. Play along with my shit and then fucking draw like totally like blow my mind, but if it's always falling a line, it just depends, but like, nah, like I gotta keep it business until maybe if they swoon me and whatever, but it's really hard to swoon me now.
For sure, for sure. I know from my own personal experience, it's just like, oh, anyone I involved who, I've been involved with where like dance or bartender, whatever that, like, I'm not going to see you at work because that changes
Right.
the dynamic the minute like
Right.
I'm a customer.
Right. And there's a lot of guys that they don't wanna do that either,
Right.
and
Like I'm not bothered to see you at work. Like, because once if we're actually involved, I have no problems coming to your work at that point. But like in the courting phase,
right.
like I don't want to fall into the, oh, this dude's just a customer.
But it's like, okay, if you don't wanna be a customer, I get that, but then it's like, you gotta show and it's gonna take more than dinner,
Well, I'm not just DM.
bullshit stories,
I'm also not
bullshit
just
facades. I mean, not you, just, like, guys who
Yeah, for sure. I'm
to
also
court.
not DM sliding random people like,
Right.
yo, babe. Like, nah. That's
I can, like I can mostly tell now, like, when guys like, even if I may be interested in them or whatever, like, I can tell when they're, like, seeing other women or I could just tell, but it's like it doesn't bother me. It's just like, "Oh, okay, interesting." Like, it just again, it's actions. It's like I can see that.
well, for sure. And I don't know. I'm of the mindset until like both parties have come to conclusion of like, hey, we're only seeing each other. There's nothing wrong with seeing other people. Like
Yeah.
they can see other people. Like if I'm not accountable to them, they're not accountable to me. Like I'm going to see other people. You can see other people. No one should be upset about this until we decide that like, hey, we're not seeing other people, and we decide that collectively.
Mhm. Yeah. It's
But
uh,
I'm not going to bullshit someone around.
right.
If someone's like, yo, are you seeing other people? Yeah, I don't think we
And
agreed on exclusivity.
it's like, like it's when they start to do the policing thing on your interactions and your work and all this, and it's just like, okay, if you wanna change me or if you're not trying to be, like, 100% with me, like, just tell me.
Well, and no one should be policing you because once again, they're signing up for the existing package, which involves you being a dancer, you being a porn star. Like, there should be no policing because this is what they signed up for.
Yeah.
At the point where they're trying to change what they signed up for, they're trying to renegotiate the deal after they've agreed to something. That's fucked.
Yes.
That's absolutely
It's
fucked.
so that dance is annoying.
Well, and I know it's the tale as old as time, and it's like, unfortunately, you've been around for a while. I'm sure you've seen plenty of other people fall into it. It's just like, oh, all of a sudden someone's doing girl, girl only, or they're not performing. They're just like, oh, I'm just doing cam, or
And then they come back.
and then they come back. It's like, so did you break up with them? Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
realized that shit was toxic. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so I've been around for over a decade. Like, it's the tale as old as fucking time.
It's really hard. It's like I remember when I joined and I was having a conversation with these performers, and we were really like smoking weed, and we were just like, yeah, man, like we're just a different kind, and it's really hard, but it's like this is what this hustle is, and this is why you have to be cutthroat because emotions are involved, but you also have to learn how to like put those emotions at the door, step into that room, do the performance, get the check, be the persona, and then hang it up and leave. And then you go back and you have a self-care with yourself and you go back into life.
Yeah,
And a lot of people cannot handle that.
no, a lot of people, definitely a lot of people can't. A lot of people can't put the disconnect of like, you're essentially playing a role when you go to work.
Right.
Like people don't
The
understand that, like,
fantasy.
right, you're selling a fantasy and that like it's Onyx Muse that walks in the door, not like
I
your real name. And
I said this the other day at work. It was funny. I was like telling because this guy was like, yeah, he's like, I'm looking for love. And I was like, bro, I was like, you're not looking for love here. I'm like, we're basically like Airbnb for love. It's temporary. You're not gonna have it. It really is like lust, but you're gonna have a good night's sleep. You're gonna have a good experience. And if you write a review, you could come back and you could get that experience again.
right, like you are selling a fantasy.
Right.
You are absolutely selling a fantasy that like
An escape.
right. Exactly. Like, oh, hey, this beautiful woman is into my bullshit. Like, she cares about what I have to say. She like is gonna listen to me bitch about the guy at work. She's gonna
But I'm not going to, be a homewrecker.
right,
I'm not going to, affect your life and your marriage or your relationship or your whatever. It leaves when you leave. And when you come back, it just picks up right back where it is. And that's it. And it's just like this understanding.
right. It's a safe space.
Yeah, it's safe. And I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to shame you. I'm going to listen to everything what you want to say, vent about, talk about yourself. And then also when you want to get down to whatever your fantasy is, you want to be humiliated, you want to be dirty talked, you want to, you like feet, like boobs, ass, tits, like all that, like whatever.
It should just be a pretty straightforward transaction.
Mhm.
But people get it fucking twisted. It's just like, oh, these are the type of people that go into like, oh, the waitress is into me because she's being polite.
Yeah.
Like, bro, no, she works for tips. Like that's her job. That
And some people don't know that. We all work for tips.
well, I feel like that's
And
people's ego getting out of
and
control.
also, yeah, you gotta work for the tips. You're not just, like, doing this, like,
For
to
sure.
you there's no entitlement to it. So, there is this catch-22 with the way that customers perceive the dancers, just like the guy who's spooked from girls who robbed him to the girls who perspective to customers and all that. And just like you said, it is a dance. It is like a psychology dance. And
Well, yeah, because you don't know if this stranger is going to because you showed him a little bit of kindness, is going to become obsessed with you and try to find your fucking apartment or find like go
right.
fucking crazy too. Like you,
Thankfully.
yeah, knock on wood that
Yeah.
hopefully
No.
everyone understands that like you're paying for a service and it stays in the confines of these walls. Like the minute you walk back out into reality,
And I don't ever like allude to like it going beyond that point.
well,
Definitely keep them in the mindset that like, yeah, this is
oh
just
no,
temporary.
anyone who like goes to that point, I'm sure is their delusion. Like
Sure.
it is completely their psychosis, their fucking mental problems.
Yeah.
And thankfully that shit's few and far between, but you see it with just people's fan base. Sometimes like you get obsessive fucking crazy fans.
Yeah.
Like, bro, you don't love this person. You don't know
You're
her.
infatuated.
You're infatuated. Just because you've busted some nuts to her does not mean you love her. Just like I see this all the time. Like performer marry me. Like, bro, you don't know her.
I know. I think it's hilarious and sometimes like when fans talk to me it's like we had this moment. No. I mean, you had the moment and I don't want to kill that for you, but when I met fans like at conventions like for the first time it was like, it's really awesome. But I also like I love it. I make my art because want I want loads to be busted to my art. Like, that's the best compliment you can get.
Right, but just the loads, not you don't want fucking people trying
I
to put a
don't
ring on.
need to see them. I've had guys show me. It's don't need to see them. I just wanna know that it happened. As long as it happened, I did my job.
You want the abstract of it, not
Yeah.
not the actual like I don't need proof. I believe you.
Yeah, yeah, I believe you. I believe
I don't
we made it happen.
yeah, I don't believe anyone's going to lie about busting a nut to you if they're like I came so hard to you. I don't think anyone's going to lie about that.
Yeah. I just like I wanna encourage them, but
But not trying to put a ring on it.
no, no.
Like we don't know each other. Like
I don't need the evidence.
no, no rings, no evidence. Like just thank you, thank you. I think it should cover it. Yeah.
Appreciation, yeah.
Maybe from afar.
Yeah, from a computer screen.
Right? No, just it's wild to me. It's wild to me that like I've talked about this a plenty of times. It's just like the people that confuse lust and love. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, there are plenty of people that I've seen in this world that like I find drop dead gorgeous. Like if given the opportunity to have sex with them, sure, I would happily do it. that doesn't mean I want a life with them. Hell, some of them I've gotten to know a little bit and like, God damn it, why'd you have to talk? You are not a good person. Right? It's few and far between, but there's definitely been some people
Right.
like over the years, it's just like, oh, you were so hot until like I got to know you. Fuck.
So
Fuck.
it's all about chemistry and connections.
Right. For actual relationships, sure.
Mhm.
And even with some of the ones that I think are horrible people now, I would still probably have an orgasm with if given the
Right.
opportunity.
Right. I mean, sometimes we like the crazy bitch.
Well, yeah, I just want to, nut and go.
Yeah.
Like something can be back in my brain, like, oh, that would be fun. And then like that's just a fantasy. Like, who knows if our parts would fit together in a way that was actually a good time.
Sure.
Like that doesn't always fucking
Doesn't
happen.
always happen and doesn't always have to happen.
It doesn't, but it's really disappointing if you're like, I'm just trying to bust this crazy nut. And like, oh, you're a horrible person and the sex wasn't even good. Great. It's not the best feeling in the world.
No.
That's why you probably should try not to have sex with people you don't like. Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
That's a very healthy practice.
Don't always practice the most healthy things in this house. I think that's human nature. Sometimes it's just like the reptilian brain takes over and it's just like, but I want to see what the orgasm would be like.
I know, right? But I like it.
Right? It's just like, well, fuck. I was just fuck. That's when the post-nut clarity is so
The
real.
right brain, left brain
Well, it's just
decisions.
the cloudiness of like, oh, I would like to have an orgasm, and then when once it's out, it's just like, oh, this was a mistake. This was a giant
Yeah.
fucking mistake.
That's
Whoops.
what's kind of hot about it.
It's hot, and as long as you don't go back and make it again.
Right.
At the point where you're just like, oh, I'm just continuing to make this mistake over and over again. Like that's a problem.
That's where, yes.
That's technically when I think you fall into addiction levels.
Right.
When you start doing things to the detriment of your own life.
Totally.
Don't do
Crazy.
it. Don't do it.
It's always good in moderation. Or like some things.
Some things.
I don't know if that worked.
It works.
Yeah.
I had one friend who was a fall down drunk back in the day. And he was just like, you got to do everything in moderation, including moderation. Like,
that's hard.
Like, bro, you don't do drinking in moderation. Like, you're just lying to yourself. I know you've, messed around with acid. You mess around with shrooms these days, or?
I'm beyond shrooms.
Beyond shrooms.
I like doing acid and I've done DMT. I really like to go higher, but I don't like it's not a necessity. Like I don't do this like every week. I really do it periodically, like usually if I'm gonna go to like a festival. I get very like great like epiphanies and my mind gets really higher thinking and I definitely don't abuse it of anything, but I just like I love like the higher thinking. I'm really spiritual. I love the hallucinations and just like what I see. But there's like a process to it. Like you definitely have to do it as long as you're on like good vibes. If there's bad vibes, like nah.
And I've definitely done some acid and not been in the right headspace for it, and like.
But I do love shrooms. I like to do it as like a tea, but I just like acid. Acid's better.
Well, it's one of those things
for me.
I enjoy acid. The problem is the time commitment to doing acid. You're like,
yeah.
Oh, this is where I'm going to be for the 8 to 10
roller
hours.
Coaster, yeah, like you're taking the ticket.
Like this is what I'm doing today. Where it's like shrooms, because it's 4 to 6 hours. It's just like, oh well, this is how I'm spending part of my day.
I have a lot of friends that they do microdosing, and
fuck that.
I'm a macrodoser. Like if I'm gonna do it, I'm going all the fucking way in.
I am right there with you.
Otherwise, like I don't need to do it. I really enjoy like business and working on my all of my stuff, my business ventures and stuff like that. But I've just always I've like even before I became a mom, like I've partied at like the craziest parties that I'm good. Like I don't need to like keep doing it. So now just like moderation, like I'll do it here and there. But at this point in my stage, I really like working on all my like hustles and stuff like that. And then when I earn it, I'm gonna go in.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna be dressed fucking dope.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
Because when I'm going on the spaceship, when I'm going on the private jet experience,
Yeah, I do love me some hallucinogens. It's literally just I don't often have time in my day to like block out a whole acid day. Like it's
right.
that's what well, I did do shrooms to go watch Barbie.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That sounds really
it
fun.
was a blast. Did you
How
see that
was
movie?
it? I haven't seen it yet.
It's good. Like and definitely that movie, part of that movie just plays out like a fever dream. So I'm just like, oh, this is the right movie to what fucking do on
Yeah.
shrooms.
A lot of people are like, it's woke or
Oh,
whatever, but
oh, it definitely has like a strong feminist fucking arc
I've
to it.
heard. I really like Margot Robbie, and I think she's like perfect for Barbie.
Yeah, she definitely is, and there's definitely a meta joke in the movie about Margot Robbie being perfect for Barbie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but
Yeah. Don't spoil it for me. I want to see it.
like when you see it, you'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's the joke Matt was talking about." Like,
Yeah.
there's definitely like it was a very well done movie, but it was just like I went with a friend. I'm like, "Yeah, I want to do shrooms for this. This will be fun." And
It's
then,
so like, I mean, it's so iconic. It's like it's Barbie. Like everywhere. Like when I was 5, I had so many Barbies. And then I would go play Barbies with my girlfriend, like my neighbors and stuff like that. And now like I watch my daughter and she loves Barbies. And it's just like, how can you not watch Barbie? Or like how can you not love Barbie?
well, they definitely took the IP and were subversive with it.
I heard it wasn't very meant for like younger
Oh, it's definitely not.
kids. Yeah.
It's definitely not meant for younger kids. It is definitely like a message for women.
Sure.
And it's very well done, and it's like I enjoyed the hell out of the movie, but it's also like I have beef with Hollywood in general, that the fact that like Hollywood's not willing to do things that are not established IP. So it's just like on one hand, it's a very important message that they portrayed with Barbie. On the other hand, it kind of bums me out that like they had to use such a commercial IP to portray that message.
Right.
But the way they portray that message also wouldn't have worked if it wasn't Barbie.
Right.
So it's like these are all very much like mushroomy fucking thoughts.
Right. This is like advanced thinking.
I'm just like on a meta level. I really wish that they didn't have to use a fucking movie about a toy to tell this story, but the story wouldn't work if it was. It was just.
Yeah.
I had a good time with it though. I probably should see it again sober, but I had a good time with this.
I'm definitely gonna go. I need to go check it out.
I would definitely do one. I would definitely do one screening on acid because there are definitely like some crazy like fever dream moments out of that movie too.
I mean, I'm not gonna confirm or deny that I'm gonna do that, but
oh, I'm not a narc.
No, I know, but I'm gonna put it.
But just good thing we're recording everything. You can go back to the tape and be like,
yeah.
oh yeah.
But there could be a possibility.
Yeah, I highly recommend.
I just gotta find like a buddy to do it with because obviously you know
you gotta find. There's got to be somebody who's willing.
Yeah.
To do that. There's got like. If you don't have a friend that will go do hallucinogens and watch Barbie with you, do you really have friends?
You fucking suck.
Like, could you call someone a friend if they're not willing to do that?
Right. But also, like, I don't like, and this whole feminist thing, and I get it. Like, I get their fight, but like, I don't fully, like, I'm not fully feminist because I do like men and I do need them for, you know, some things.
I don't think, like, the message they're portraying in that movie is like, we don't need men. We don't like, we hate men. It wasn't like a man hating movie. I didn't walk away from that movie being like,
I feel less than.
Right. What I did walk away from is like, I like that they portrayed Barbie not needing Ken.
Yes.
The Barbie's like, nah, I like you, Ken, but like, I don't like you. And like, I don't need you. I appreciate you, but I don't need you.
Oh, okay. I hear a lot about this.
Well, because like traditionally, because Ken, like Ryan Gosling is essentially playing the stereotypical female role in most movies where he's just like, but I need you. I'm nothing without you. And she's like, that sucks, bro.
I need to watch this now. This is interesting. Okay.
There's definitely one scene, spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen Barbie yet or is going to, that Ryan Gosling is throwing Barbie shit out of her dream house.
Oh.
and the way he is dressed, I'm like, "This looks like how pro wrestlers break up."
Yeah.
'Cause he's just, like, fur coat, no shirt, throwing her shit
So
out.
funny. He's like perfect guy for Ken.
Yeah, no, it was a really well done movie, and I do not regret seeing it on hallucinogens in any way, shape, or form.
Good. Noted.
Having a daughter and everything, and being in sex work is like, what how do you tell her about it, like, as she gets older? Like,
I haven't figured that out. And honestly, I'm just really enamored by her development and her turning into a person. And it's just so cute. And I'm sure, yes, we're going to get to the point where we need to like have a discussion what mommy's job is. But I'm going to raise her to have her mind and also have an understanding that, this is a job and this is what I did to provide. But in no means do I want her to go in my footsteps. Like, this is why I work hard, because I want to provide a better life for my daughter so she doesn't have to do what I did.
but if she chooses to, it's okay
If
too.
she chooses it to, I really want there to be a level of trust between us that I would want her to be able to confide into me rather than friends. And I know sometimes it's like, as women and being mothers, like, that's what we strive for, and sometimes it can't always get there because it is hard when they're going through teenaging years and they're rebelling. But I want to really have a positive, like, relationship with us. I want her, like, I will never, like, condemn her or judge her when she comes and talks to me. And I don't wanna say, like, my mom did that to me, but I definitely did not have a open support system where I can talk about these type of things to, like, any family members. Not like not even my sister.
But it's a different generation at that
It's a
point.
different generation, and honestly, like, I don't care. I would rather bust my ass and provide for my daughter, but I have really disciplined myself that I set days for her and I to have our time together where mommy is not working, and when I'm with her, I don't wanna get interrupted with work because I wanna, like, really be in the moment with her, and I spend time with her, and I try to, like, anytime I can try to, like, do something for her when I'm working really hard. So, really, like, she's made me, like, just a better person, and she's made me, like, appreciate life, and really, like, I don't have FOMO if I can't go to the parties and what. However, like, mommy does set up a time where I can be able to have, my time to do, like, podcasts or, enjoy myself.
Yeah, don't worry, folks. Her kid is not in the other room.
No, no. So it's just really a refreshing thing. Like, when my daughter, like, when we were going through these stages of, like, crawling and walking and potty training and just watching her, like, push through these challenges is so amazing. And I love to, like, see that. And that's like the best thing of being a mom, and just like it's just awesome watching her, and she's just like my life. Like, she's the highlight of my life every day.
It's awesome. That's
Yeah.
uh, and the only reason I asked is because, like, I've very much chosen not to have children, and, like, I'm part of that decision was, 1, I'm a selfish human being. Like, I just know I am a selfish human being. Like, I am not willing to make the sacrifices that you need to make to be a good parent.
I really felt that way too. Like, I was like, there's no way that I could be a parent. And actually, like, anytime my girlfriends would, like, get pregnant, I would just be like, oh, okay, that's it. But then when I had, like, so when I found out I was pregnant, I was just like, I cried to myself, and I was just like, abortion was not was not a choice for me. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to have my daughter or my child because maybe I won't have another opportunity to have kids. And it's such like a journey for, like being a woman. It's like I'm a full-on woman now. Like I have literally birthed a human being, but it's a journey. Like it's not fun at all, and you're going through all these emotions plus your hormones. But the biggest challenge for me was obviously, like, fitness, getting back down, and I was really scared, because in my family, I have found like, my dad went through really bad depression, and I thought that maybe that could be, like, hereditary, and so I was really scared about, like, postpartum, and even though it kinda creeps in because you're so, like, you literally can't do nothing, and then even after you have the baby, like, you can't work out until, like, 4 weeks, 6 weeks after pregnancy, and so you're just, like, looking at yourself like, "Am I gonna get back to, like, where I was?" And it just, like it was a no-brainer to me. I watched so many, like, fitness videos, like, pregnant fitness videos right before I got back. So, like, the minute that I found out, like, I could work out, I just, like I fucking went to it. I was my own, like, voice of, like, motivation to do it, and I got back like, I literally got back down to, like, my size, and it's just, like, it was awesome, but it was really, like, scary because you just have so many uncertainties going on.
Oh, definitely, because there's just so much that can go right, but there's so much that can go wrong, and it's just
And your body changes. So I got my boobs done, and I really didn't want to before I had pregnant. I didn't want to do my boobs because I actually really loved my little boobs. Like I loved them. It was great. But then I was like, you know what? Like I'm gonna do this for myself. And I did it. And I never did any surgery. Like that was like the only thing that I did. But I fucking like don't regret it at all. Probably but like pregnancy boobs were so fucking fun. It was like literally like the boob drop from God, and then they get taken away from you because you gotta give it to the baby. And then you're just kind of like, and I'm not saying that after you have kids, you have to get a boob job. Like, that was just, like, a choice for me, but
for sure.
it's, like, even, like, conquering that, the challenge that really, like, was really hard was I couldn't carry my baby, like, for the amount of time that I was, like, healing, so, like, that was really hard, but we pulled through. We were able to get through it, and now I love my boobs.
And I'm sure lots of people out there love them as well.
Lots of people love them, so, it was definitely a smart investment.
Hey, nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. Well, and like back on the family front, it's just
Yeah.
like for me personally, like it was just one of those things. Like I don't know what values I'd want to instill in a child these days. Was part of like my decision to not do it. So it's always curious for see,
It's hard, and you like, there's so many other parents or other people who, they put all this, their belief systems and their choices onto you that you're a parent. And like, especially like when we were doing like, the vaccines and stuff. And I was really like, I do not like putting any like foreign things in my body. I mean, it took a
besides
while.
boobs,
It took a while. I watched a lot of boob like research and stuff, and then I was like, all right, fine, I'll like do it. But no, like normally, like I'm not really a type of person that would like put any like weird things in my body. So
but
it
maybe acid.
yeah, I mean,
I'm
I was
just
just
fucking
some
with
acid. Yeah,
I'm just
well,
fucking with
you
you.
know what I mean.
I'm fucking with you.
But I just wasn't cool with the experiment of the vaccine. And then when I was in California, so in Vegas, it was very much like everybody was like, no, no, don't do it. But then when I came to California and in certain areas, like, you know, people were like pro-vax, and they were pushing it on to me like, hey, like you're a mom, like you need to like vax your kid. But I was already going through her, like, normal vaccines, and I'm super, like, I'm really checking, like, what's going on, like, what's with it, like, what does she really need, what is the extra. I don't want her to I just want her to have the most that she can go to school or daycares.
Not get polio.
Yeah, but I'm not going to. I just wasn't feeling the vax, and it took a while. I almost was like, "Oh, the pressure of everybody, I guess we'll just do it," and I'm really happy we didn't do it, and now you kinda see, and it's like stuff like that is really, like, challenges of being a parent because you have to, like, decide like what is best for my daughter, like what is the right choice, but you also have to like trust your instincts and your intuition. So, and also doing your own research. So it's like hard, but it's also like it's refreshing because you're like, wow, like all the bullshit and shit that I had to like unlearn and learn the right way. This is now stuff that I can instill in her so she doesn't have to take this long to like learn this shit.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing of like us being in this industry, we're effectively the outliers of society in a
Right.
lot of cases. It's good that you're able to like, hey, we're people too, by the way. Like, because how many people in this world look at people in our professions that are just like, oh, those aren't people.
Right. And I really like my choice in being like a mom. Like I do see like a lot of moms who might, if they want to get flown out, like they're quick to like leave their kid and whatever. And like for me, like I give a fuck about my daughter. Like when I had daycare, when I had her in daycare and stuff, like I would call like every hour. Like, I slowed it down, I started but I would call, like, after an hour that I dropped her off because it's like, I want these people, because it's really scary too when you're putting, like trusting other people to
Strangers.
watch your child and, you put the best into them and you protect them and you have to, like, ensure that they're gonna do the same to your kid while you gotta work and provide and get back to work and stuff. And I, like, would make it known, like, "Hey, like, I give a fuck about my kid." So,
Right. Don't fuck off.
yeah. So, and then when I took the choice to, like, take her out of daycare and try other methods, like have nannies, like, it really and it also, like, it was a learning lesson because it was like, "Okay, well, like, this is cheap and affordable," but now I understand why people invest into better situations for their kid because you just can't fucking trust people
Well,
in
there's a
this
reason it's
world.
cheap. There's a
Right.
reason. Like,
Right.
there's a reason you can get a McDouble for whatever it costs these days. You can't get them for 99 cents anymore.
Yeah.
But, there's a reason you can go to McDonald's and get a cheap cheeseburger versus going to a steakhouse and getting a fat, fucking, juicy, fucking
Right.
fat burger. Like,
She like, I could tell it wasn't good and it didn't feel good. I definitely had mom guilt where I'm like, I have to like I have to get back to work, but I have to like make sure somebody's watching her. But then when she would come home, she was a sniffly and oh my God, the first time I got sick when she got a little bug from another kid and it fucked me up. And it was just like I had to like start dealing with the pros and the cons and stuff and it's still scary and navigating through, but it's just like overall like my whole focus every day is making sure she's happy, healthy, fed, all good so that like I'm able to like work. And if it just comes to the point where like it's just a day that like I can't get to work, I can't get to these guys, I can't get to the customs, I can't get to the live shows, then fuck it, so be it. My daughter like is number 1, is most important than anything.
hell yeah. Hell yeah. And that's how it should be. Like, because it's fucked when people bring children into this world and then they're like, oops, I'm not willing to make the sacrifices
Mm,
that come with doing the job.
yeah. Like I'm not that parent.
Good on you. Good on you. See, I'm not sure I could be that parent. That's why I'm not doing it.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, I always say friends, like, when you say that, and the universe can be like, "Oh, yeah, well,
Well, I had a
fuck it."
vasectomy last year, so
Oh, never mind.
yeah, I pulled the fucking
Oh,
trigger.
so you made
I
sure.
pulled the fucking trigger on that shit.
Hey, if you know, you know,
Yeah,
right?
no, I'm way too selfish, and I don't know what I'd instill in a child, And at this point, I'm not involved with anyone to a point where like we should be attached together for the rest of our lives because of a child. So yeah, it was the right decision for me.
Right.
And
That's
I don't knock anyone who decides to have kids, but I also think that more people need to carefully consider if it's right for them. If they're willing to do the work to actually bring a productive member of society in.
being a single mom is really hard,
Oh, I can
and
imagine.
making that choice to do that. And I mean, it's like the most like crazy and like such a valuable like thing that I've developed and a challenge of my life again. Like, they make you stronger even though there's so much you have to go through.
But you're doing it the right way.
Yeah,
And not everyone's built to actually be willing to do it the right way.
but it's hard. I definitely get all kinds of people who, may not feel my way is the best way, but it doesn't matter. Like, it's my life, it's my
Exactly.
child, and I'm not putting her in danger. I'm not bringing her to work. Like, it's nothing like that. And I'm at least, you know, making, I'm dividing my time and attention for work and her.
And you're making responsible choices
Right.
when it comes to like no one should fault you for that. Like,
Right.
just because you're in this industry and it's your chosen profession shouldn't disqualify you from having children if you want to have children.
I mean, it's always the catch-22, but they definitely don't mind, jerking off to the stuff that I make.
You're
And
like, oh, she really is a MILF.
yeah, but I use my mom card to like my full advantage. So,
As you should.
as I should,
As you
right?
fucking should. But yeah, I was just curious about that because like there there are plenty of performers that do have children, but not everyone's willing to talk about like,
Right.
motherhood on it. And because for some people they're like, well, that kills the fantasy. And that's fine. Like I respect that. That's why I was willing to, yeah.
Right, like, I don't mind, like, it's just, like, it's part of who I am now, and I love it. I'm so, like, proud to, like, have my daughter and talk about my daughter and talk about the challenges, but I definitely, like, on my Instagram, I hardly, like, show my daughter. I took all the pictures off because there is, like, scary AI stuff going on with, like, kids. and
Yeah, don't do.
and, I had so many, like, my mom and, like, friends were like, "Oh my gosh, your daughter's so beautiful, like, you should put her in, like, commercials," and I just was like, "No," like, you see those childhood stars, they're so fucked up, and, they just don't they didn't have a solid upbringing, and I'm
Well,
very happy and blessed that I got, like, a real authentic, like, childhood.
and that's awesome. I'm with the childhood stars. I don't know like what the exact causation of that is. Is that because the type of parent that would push their kid to be a childhood star often ends up being horrible fucking people? Or is it because you have neglectful parents that like let their childhood star run amok and just run amok in fucking Hollywood?
Not all the times, and I think, like, every situation is different, but you definitely see that there is even in their, like, older years, there's a level of development that they're still somewhat immature, and they can't get that they can't really grow from that because like, that piece of their life is missing from, they were making money and they were working, and they were
Well,
employees of, like, the parents for a while, but then it was really, and then obviously when they're 18, it's like, no, they were the breadwinners and it was different, and sometimes the parents were living off of their wealth and their work.
oh, and abusing it. But I also think, at least in my limited experience dealing with mainstream celebrities, I think something happens to your fucking brain if you are famous for so many years of no one saying no to you. Something just happens to your fucking brain. So
Right.
imagine that you're at the point of still development. You're not even like your
Right.
brain's not fully developed and you're in a situation for years where no
And
one says no to you.
you never got a rejection. You never got yeah, it's just scary. And it's like, I'm not saying like all childhood stars are fucked up, but like,
But I stand by that if you go enough length in your life with no one ever saying no to you, it does something to
yeah.
you. It
And
does.
it's like, I want her to be able to, like, go to the playground, have fun, not have to worry about people watching them or trying to, like, talk to them or trying to, like, I was watching something on the family vlogs on YouTube, and it is kind of weird that, like, people would kind of exploit their children in a way and film them through all like, through their life of this, like, this precious stages in their life where they're growing and they're learning how to be human and deal with all these emotions, and these people are, like, filming their kids and trying to, like, benefit off of it, and it's
It's
so
gross. Like,
weird. Yeah.
I'm very much on the record of being like, anyone who is exploiting children to for their own fame and fortune is gross to me. I don't care if it's your kids or someone else's. Like, there are definitely YouTube creators out there that were like, "Oh, hey, doing family friendly content was the fast track to money. So that's why I do family friendly contact or content." And it's just like, that's gross to me. If you're like a Mr. Rogers or like someone who's legitimately an educator and you're like, I want to do family friendly content, that's cool.
Right.
Someone who is doing it just because they think it's the fast track
It's
to
like a
money,
lucrative, like,
yeah,
loophole. Yeah.
it's gross to me. And like, I don't care if you're exploiting your own children or someone else's children, or it's
And it's
gross to
just
me.
scary. There's
It's
there's
gross.
predators out there
Well,
and
I mean, it's predatory. Like, there's different levels of predatory there.
right.
Like if you're doing it predatory just for the money, it's gross. If you're doing
Yeah.
it predatory, like ulterior motives predatory, that's ugh, ugh.
Yeah.
It bothers me. It's just like it. And the problem is there's nothing illegal about it, and like even if it's unethical,
Yeah.
it doesn't.
Not yet. There is, like, some laws that are changing, but obviously not in, like, California or, like, bigger markets, but I think now it's starting to get, like, addressed.
And, like, I have 0 problems in the modern age if, like, you as a parent wanna capture your kid's special moments for just you. Like,
Yeah.
if you wanna film your kid's birthday party or film your kid at the park just so you can hold on to those moments, because like, us as kids, our parents had Polaroids and, like, took pictures and shit
Right.
like that, but that was just for us. That wasn't to exploit for monetary gain. That wasn't to exploit for fame and clicks and
I
likes.
remember that shit, like, you had to, like, take the film to the, like, Walgreens, and then you gotta wait for, like, fucking, like,
Um,
7 days or something or
yep.
4 days, and then you got it, and then
And it might be out
and
of
then even
focus.
if there was, like, some that were, like, fucking, like, just a waste, but you were so excited and it was, like, 18 pictures or something like that.
Yeah, it was overexposed, it was out of
Yeah,
focus, like, but
but it's like those were really special, like, memories that now it's like, we have these digital phones and you could literally take pictures and things all in a matter of a second, and it's almost not as valuable as it was.
oh, it definitely isn't, because at the end of the day, right now, I could take 100 pictures of you with a camera, 100 pictures in the matter of moments, and I know which ones are perfect. I know which ones, like, I can just trash them for. And this is comes back to our, like, early discussion where automation fucking replaces people's jobs. Being a good photographer in the film days was a real fucking
Yes,
skill,
yes.
and because everything's digital now, and because everything has AI tools and shit built into the cameras to help with a lot of assistance in the process of taking a photograph, and you don't have to wait till the shit's developed to be like, "Fuck, I didn't get the shot."
Right.
It makes it so much easier. Like, I've gotten into photography as kind of a hobby in the last couple of years, and I'm just like, after doing a bunch of street photography and taking thousands of photos and maybe finding a couple under 100 I liked out of the whole set, I'm like, I couldn't imagine trying to learn how to do this on actual film.
I just, like I just did, like, a mini, like, photo shoot at my hotel before I came over here, and, I was talking to the photographer, and we were talking about, like, OnlyFans. It's brought out a lot of different people who are exploring photography, and also, like, I'm very selective with people that I shoot with because I have had situations where people have had to, like, extort me for pictures, like, once you're, like, in the adult industry and then you're shooting, and it's, like, a lot of times guys over you know, their expectations of what you make is, like, so much in their head, but you don't understand, like, it's still work, it's still hustle, but, yeah, I had, like, a photographer, like, extort me and wanted me to pay them in order to get, like, edited pictures, and I was so pissed off because I was like I got real, like, vulnerable to the point I think I only did topless with both of them, but it was just like, "What the fuck?" Like,
That
I
is
did
definitely
my part, and it's like, I gotta sell this in order to get the money, but yeah, it's
that's a
just
discussion before anyone gets topless, anyone pulls out a camera.
right,
Like,
and,
if we agree upon, like, "Hey, we're gonna do a shoot for this much time, and it's gonna cost you this much for me to edit everything down." Like, that's not all it should be. There should be no discussion after the fact.
so it was a learning lesson, but what I did was I ordered Photoshop myself and I started learning. I went to YouTube University and, started doing a lot of my own stuff. And it's really hard. It's very time consuming. And
Oh, I
I
know.
can't be everybody. I can't be the performer. I can't be like the editor. I can't be like the poster. But I try to do at most. But at the most part, like, I just try.
Well, don't worry, when your daughter gets a little older, you can teach her fucking Photoshop.
I know, right?
Like, the kids pick that shit up so fast.
Yeah, she's so, like, smart on the tablet and shit. It's, like, crazy.
It's like, "Hey, do you wanna be mommy's post-production?"
No, no.
Kidding, kidding,
No,
completely
no.
kidding. Oh my god. Yeah,
Yeah, sorry,
completely joking.
yeah, yeah.
Completely joking. But, Onyx, believe it or not, we have been doing this for over 2 hours already.
I know, right? Like, this is really cool. Thank you so much for having me. I really
Pleasure.
liked the context of our conversation. It was
My pleasure.
different, and
Oh, yeah, no, absolute pleasure, but as I call last call, where can they find you on the things?
you guys can find me on Instagram, Onyx Muse XO, and on Twitter, Onyx Muse XXX. OnyxMuse.com sends you right to my free page on OnlyFans. And if you want the VIP experience, it's OnyxMuseXXX.com.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
And I'll be streaming tomorrow from 4 o'clock on my free page. So definitely
Well, this is pre-recorded,
join.
so
Oh, yeah. Well, whichever.
what days do you normally stream?
I'm trying to do like Wednesdays and Thursdays when I
Alright, so
stream.
this normally drops on a Thursday, so
Fuck yeah.
come see Onyx after you listen to this episode.
Yes.
But until next week, drink up, motherfuckers.
Thank you. Thank you for the Don Julio.
My pleasure.